Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Trollen from the Career Services Office, and today I'm here to talk with you about salary research and also salary negotiation tips. So many candidates in the search process, especially entry-level candidates, don't think they have any ability to negotiate their salary or things like that. So we want to kind of dispel some rumors and give you some tips in this process. So as you're going about the process of applying to positions and you're getting to the step of interviews and coming close to negotiating things right off the bat is that if you haven't already, do some additional research on the organization that you're applying to, interviewing at, or potentially have an offer. I highly encourage you to review sites like Glassdoor.com to look at salary and company reviews. Double check any relevant news articles to see what the company's financials are looking like, just to get an idea if this is a stable organization for you to be with, and then also one that may have the money and ability to offer you an enhanced salary beyond what their initial offer may be. So always start with that. Now, beyond there, an important thing to consider throughout the process and in the offer period, you need to know what you're worth. And this goes into play again also in advance of interviews. Occasionally, you may get some employers that will ask you what your salary expectations are in an early round interview. So you want to make sure that you can give them some good information on there that's based on some research. I'll show you some sample sites and do a quick run through of how to do a little bit of salary research, but you need to make sure that you do that in advance of going into an interview in case this comes up. Now, typically you as a candidate want to hold off bringing up the topic of salary and benefits until hopefully a offer is being made or maybe a final round interview. There may be some exceptions to this rule if perhaps you have multiple offers already on the table with deadlines coming and you need to make a quick decision. But again, most of the time you want to wait till a little bit farther into the process to start bringing that up. But a critical thing, and I think something that candidates don't think enough of, is always consider an offer before accepting. I know you may be excited to accept that offer with your ideal company or organization, but you should always take at least 1 to 2 business days to review that offer. Now, if it's a place you're very interested in, you just may need a night to go through, review the benefits and information that they have, and you might be ready to call back the next day. That's fine as long as you've done some careful research. But you may need to ask for a few days. Perhaps you have other offers on the table that you're considering, or maybe you've interviewed at a few other places that you're very interested in, and this could be your time for you to contact them, to let them know you have an offer on the table, but that you are interested in that organization, to see if that might move them along. So that way you can make an appropriate decision as to which place that you're most interested in interviewing at. So think about that in advance and take some time. Now, of course, as I already mentioned, there's another piece to the salary, which is the benefits, perks, or other things that they offer. Don't discount these and make sure you ask about this when an offer is put on place. Ask for documentation about what their benefits are and information, or ask these questions maybe in a final round interview, so that way you know and can think about that once an offer has been made to you. You want to look at different things along the lines as I'm looking at my list here. Obviously, insurance, vacation time, retirement, whether it's pension, 401k, or other things, matches into 401k, find out about that. Are there maybe sign-on bonuses? Not all industries do that, but in-demand areas may offer sign-on bonuses. Do they have stock options? Do they offer telecommuting? Do they offer, discounted or free T passes? There can be a lot of things that can start to add up. So while a salary may seem a little bit low, maybe their benefits more than compensate for that. And maybe at the end of the day, that higher salary will very quickly start to go down when you start adding in these other factors and considerations. So make sure you look at all of those when considering. And finally, don't think that you can't negotiate the salary as a recent graduate. Now, yes, there are factors to consider, a difficult labor market, if it's an in-demand position that lots of people are applying for, there may be certain circumstances where there may be little to no movement room. But it doesn't hurt to ask if you've carefully researched. And what I mean by this is if you're looking and you don't have a lot of experience and the employer is already paying above what the salary you generally researched is out there, there's probably not going to be much room and it might be difficult to have that conversation. But again, if based on your research, you're looking at the position and you're saying, maybe the midpoint is 50,000 and they're only offering, 38, that's definitely something that's worth having a discussion on. But what you'd want to go into that conversation is with a range. You don't want to just say, I want $60,000. You need to look at what a reasonable range is. So when we look in a moment at a sample, it'll give you on many of these tools a midpoint and then kind of like one or two standard deviations. Usually that'll give you a $5,000 to $10,000 range that you can look at. So what you could do in an interview is, in the end of the process, maybe it isn't an interview, or when calling back to discuss the salary, you could say, I'm very interested in the opportunity, but one thing I had a question on was the salary. Based on my research, it seems like the average for this position is somewhere between $45,000 and $55,000 a year. And so I was wondering if there's any negotiation room on that, of course, considering the salary and benefits, but if there's any way we can move closer to that number. Now, the organization may be able to do it. They may be able to go the whole way, maybe a little bit, but sometimes they just have a number that they have to keep to. They might have been told this is the exact number, there's no room, but then and then you could make that decision. But be prepared to know that. So that way, if you call them and you're calling back to discuss the offer, decide in advance, if I can't get any more than this, can I live with this? And is this a position that I really want, regardless if I can't negotiate that salary? And then if you're ready to accept the offer at that point, you could say, okay, well, I was just researching. I figured it wouldn't hurt to ask about that, but I am very interested in the opportunity. So I'd love to know the next steps about accepting and signing on, as I would like to accept this position and opportunity with you. So always think about it, but go in with careful research. Now, there's a variety of tools that you can use to do salary research. I had already mentioned Glassdoor. Those have posted company reviews and salary information, as well as interview tips and questions. Department of Labor website, BLS.gov, has information out there that you can use to look at, U.S. Department of Labor data. Salary Expert, Payscale.com are both similar, and Salary.com is a widely used website for salary research. And with that, I'm going to switch over and just show in terms of a brief example. Give me one moment to bring up a screen here. And so Salary.com is one of those common tools that you can use in terms of the search process. So with Salary.com, you can come in and you can type in a job title, a location, and click Get My Salary Estimate. It'll give some different levels of positions sometimes, so look at the one that's most appropriate, and then you can click View Salary. It'll take a few moments. It'll usually show you an ad because this is a free version. There's no reason to pay for it. But then it'll give you this chart to look at. Now, I would plug in additional information. So are you a bachelor's level or master's level candidate? Well, actually, I'm going to put in that. Years of experience, count internships, but maybe you also had another job that was in the field already, so maybe internship in that, 1 to 2 years of experience. Entry level, you probably won't have people you're supervising, but maybe there's one, maybe there's an assistant or something that's reporting to you. If you know who you're reporting to, probably most likely a supervisor or manager. Performance, this you're not going to have any data on. It's not applicable at this point. But then you can see if that changes. So, and let me see if I can view this table to make it a little easier to see. But so it's going to give you here, it had said on that previous page, your sample salary was like $61,568. But this midpoint salary, the 50th percentile, is that mid-level one that you can look at, so about 62,000. And here's that first standard deviation. So that's that nice about $10,000, $12,000 range. So if an organization's coming in with an offer that's at like 61,000, and you said, you know what, I have more than the median experience on there, then you can start talking to them about a negotiation range, perhaps between that 62 to around that 68. That's, you know, a $6,000 range, and that's above what they're asking for, because obviously we're not going to talk about anything lower than what they're offering. And that's because you're saying, you know what, I know I have more experience above the range. If you're saying, you know what, I have less experience and you thought maybe you were going to get offered this, but you got offered 61, maybe the 61 is great. But you could always say, you know what, I was hoping to, you know, my research says that, you know, 62 or 63 is more average. You could always try with that, but see. But again, using tools like this will help give you some information that you can look at to make sure that you're making an informed decision about the process. So using a tool like salary.com is extremely helpful through your search process and when trying to make an informed decision. If you do have questions about salary negotiation process or your job search, you can always call our office to set up a virtual or phone appointment. Just give us a call at 508-531-1328, and we'd be happy to set up a time to meet with you. Thanks for your time today, and we look forward to working with you.